Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper. We are so excited. A lot of you have been asking us, when are you relaunching Paper to Profit? And here we are. Sara, Jessie, and I have been working on and reworking Paper to Profit and trying to figure out how we can elevate it even more for you. And today, we're going to talk about some of the changes that Paper to Profit has gone through. And also, we're bringing Sara because Sara, with 15 years of business experience, is bringing a lot to the table that both Jessie and I do not really do much on, like sponsorships, like doing really creative posts and YouTube and all these things that we've always wondered, how do you go about doing that? So Sara's going to give you her secrets and her techniques on how to make this happen.
I'm so excited to go on here with you guys. And yeah, I feel like all three of us, we kind of offer such different perspectives but yet so important into the paper art industries. I'm really excited to be part of it with you guys. And I do want to say that I could just put a lot of input into creating content and the digital world, where I offer a lot of digital templates and online workshops. I know we were talking about it a lot, and in-person workshops too, because I've been doing that for a really long time. So I'm really excited to be a part of this with you guys.
Definitely.
We're so excited to have Sara with us. I mean, Sara, what did you think of our content when you were reading through it?
I feel like I'm learning so much. I'm always learning a lot through Paper Talk. I learn a lot from Quynh and Jessie, and I feel like the Paper to Profit in general, when I was reading through some of the details, wow, some of the stuff I'm like, I'm not even doing those things. I need to get on that. The whole tax section, I was like, wow. So I do feel like there is a really good step-by-step guide for people that are going to be newcomers into opening up a small business, but even people that have been doing their business for a long time, like me, still there's a lot of takeaways from just the little details that you guys included. I'm so impressed by just all the information that you guys had on there. I'm really excited for our students to learn all those things. And yeah. I think just all our trial and error, input, so that people don't have to go through that, right? I do think learning hands-on, doing the trial and error on your own is important. But if you could also have a guide that already does that all for you, why not, right? So
Sure.
I think there was a good 5 years of me learning how to do taxes, how to make sure that I'm properly, having all those information. And yeah, you guys had it and so organized. I'm so impressed.
Gosh, I know. Listening to you talk about it, I was like, oh yes, I remember when Jessie and I, during COVID, we pretty much just worked on it day in and day out, just writing and trying to put down content that we thought would be so helpful for everyone. And when we did publish it out in 2020, we had a really great reception for it. But then as we went through the course with our students, we figured that we're missing a big component. And so we re-released it again in 2021 with almost like a mastermind, where the students actually got to meet with the other students, and we got to go through each and every chapter. And then Jessie and I did a powwow at the very end, and we're like, you know what? We can actually shorten that down, because we did a 10-week mastermind, which is a lot. It's a huge commitment for a lot of people when it's in the middle of this, beginning of summer, when wedding seasons are happening. And so this time we're going to condense it even more, but also offer a couple of special guest speakers to actually come in during our off days that we're not meeting for the mastermind. So instead of 10 weeks, we're going to commit to 6 weeks, which is going to be quite a bit. It's an hour and a half that we're asking every student to come in, because that is where you really get to ask your questions. You really get to hear what other people are having problems with, challenges, how they overcame it. And it's really about the perspective on how you can overcome these challenges. That is the key part for the takeaways. Because when you're an artist or a creative, you're working alone, you think you're the only one that has that problem. But then when you come into your community and you're like, oh my gosh, she's going through it too. And the key thing is you learn how people cope with it. And you're like, what can I take from this and use it for myself? Because everyone's different. Everyone's going to figure out how to solve their own problem. But how can you do it quicker? And that's what paper to profit is all about. Really, when you go into business, it underlines that you want to make money. Why do you want to make money? You want to support your family. You want to do things that will make your life better. That's the reason why our course is called Paper to Profit. We all do paper of some sorts, like Sara does cardstock. Jessie and I we do crepe paper. And those are things that has evolved. And I have to give credit to Jessie husband Warren for coming up with the name Paper to Profit. It just rolls off the tongue. I just love it.
I know. My husband's just so good at those.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it goes back to, like you said, it's about making money. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, yes, we first came in making art and we love the art and we still do. But it's about how to make money from your art, doing something that you love and that you're passionate about. How the reality is, how do you support your family? To support yourself, right? At the very least, at least support your passion, right?
Yes.
How do you do that, right? So I think these couple of years since we launched the second edition of Paper to Profit back in 2021, I believe, with the mastermind, It's been 4 years. And the 4 years has changed a lot in all of our businesses. After COVID or during COVID, there was definitely a lot of changes, not just us pivoting, but the opportunities that were offered to us, I think, changed as well. There's more of a ease of online courses, of going onto these Zoom live calls, the idea of online learning, the idea of content making for money.
Yes.
That was huge during COVID because no one else, you couldn't go anywhere. So everyone was online. So I think that change really made us rethink about our place in our business and how we ran our business. And being 2025, we thought it was about time that we kind of come back and share what we've learned in the past 4 years and what has worked and what hasn't worked in our businesses. Because I think nowadays, there's so much content, there's so many artists, it is hard to stand out. And sometimes you can't just make money from your paper flowers product. I think product pushing is an art in itself, and it can be very challenging in some ways. And so all of us have looked at other forms of making income as well. And I know we mentioned this before in Paper to Profit in our previous versions, and we talked a lot about it, but we never really went into depth into some of these. And I think having Sara come in and actually talk about content creation, which, it's something that a lot of us maybe getting into paper flowers didn't think we would do. But opportunities come and some people are, grab them like Sara did. And she has so much to teach us about content creation as a form of income, as a additional form of diversifying your income, doing the things that you already are doing, but making, income from it in a different way. I think that is really exciting for me. And we also talk about online courses a lot. I've been making online courses since 2018. So it's been quite some time. And every year I learn something new about it. And things have changed a lot as well in terms of marketing, how to produce your online courses too. I think the expectations have increased a lot. There's a lot more people teaching as well. That's really interesting too. But, we will be diving deeper into online courses, platforms, marketing, etc. on online and content like that. And I know, with Quynh, I asked her to talk about subscriptions because there aren't that many of us that do it. For good reason, maybe.
Yes.
But it's also, it can be a very lucrative income source if you have the time and the resources.
And the storage space.
Yeah, and the storage space. Yes, the storage space. There's a lot to think about. So yeah, Quynh did that for 2 years coming off of COVID, during COVID. And so, that was really interesting space to be in as well because, you did an amazing job. It was just watching you push things out month after month. In my head, I was like, wow, that's a lot of work. But
it was a lot of work.
You did it. But people loved the Posy box. Like people loved it. So, that's going to be in Paper to Profit as well in terms of how to manage that and set that up and pros and cons.
Yeah. And I'll talk about why I ended it too. I think that's a really important part, understanding when things are overwhelming or it doesn't function the way that you want it to do. How do you pivot from that? How do you end things so it kind of ease out in a good way? And the other important thing I want to talk about is AI. AI has become a huge component in creative life, making things a little bit easier, making things a little bit crazier. I want to talk about the different ways you can incorporate into your life that will make things a little bit more organized that you probably haven't thought about using it in your day-to-day, how to pivot in such a way that you can actually use. I would say a lot of creatives, we're not on the tech side. I think the unusual part that Jessie, Sara, and myself offer is that we're all really good on tech things. This is the reason why we have our podcast. And right now I'm editing the podcast. We push it out to all the different media social platform. And it's something that a lot of creatives don't think about doing is how do you put your voice out there? And we want to talk about how you can do all these different things, but also stay sane. I think that's a really important part is like, don't take on too much that you can't do things too well. And I have fallen into that pitfall. And I'll talk about that because talking about challenges, talking about success is all about the evolution of your journey as a creative. And it's so important to share that because I think all three of us want to offer in such a way that we want to help you. We want you to not do the pitfalls that we've done because we're just going in our path, doing things, trying things. I think it's our mentality of like, we want to make this work. And we're like, oh, can we do this? And we do it. And we're like, oh, that did not work. And so we want to share that. And we want to help you. If you go down that pathway, we're here to guide you. You can ask those difficult questions and we'll answer it for you. I think that's a really important part as growing as a creative, as an artist, as an entrepreneur, that you should have a community that will help you and support you. And I think that was one thing that we got from our last mastermind was when we got the students together, people start connecting and bonding. And they would message us like, oh my gosh, I met XYZ across the nation that I would never have met. And we met, we've traveled together, done projects together. Those are the connections that we want to offer you guys because this is what Sara and Jessie offers to me. And we want to offer this opportunity to you to connect with these people that have the same goals, the same journeys that you're going through and the challenges. And it's really amazing and wonderful. And it makes our heart feel so full.
I know. I feel like the biggest takeaway for me from joining Paper Talk, the podcast, was just meeting the different people, the guests that we have and learning from them. I feel like I get more takeaways than what I bring in. And I feel so bad sometimes because of that. But I really do think like having a network it's priceless because we're constantly doing the art itself. So we're not really teaching you the art. We're literally sharing stories with you guys through the podcast. But that itself is something we don't do through our art. You know, like we're not like showing you on our Instagram, like all the behind the scenes of what's going on in building our business. So I think, yeah, the way you guys put it together in Paper to Profit is going to be even better. So I know that there's like so many episodes that we have in Paper Talk, like through their podcast that we learn a lot from too. But yeah, when I was reading through your guys's like Paper to Profit and it's like packaged nicely, I think that's probably the best part. But I'm really excited for our meetups and actually getting to know people through our meetup. Yeah, so I'm excited.
Me too. It's going to be amazing.
Same. I know sometimes you just want to You need accountability. I don't know about you, but a lot of it can be hard to get started by yourself without doing it with other people, or at least somebody asking you about it. And then in the back of your mind, you're like, I got to do that for this week. Like, you got to push yourself. It's really hard to push yourself without that kind of accountability from someone else. That's why we feel it's so important that we have these meetings, this mastermind to accompany the content that we're providing, because it's not just about what's in the content. That stuff you can read by yourself, right?
Yes.
In our nice packaged online course. It's not a book, by the way. It's actually online. But after reading it, I mean, it's about what you do with it. And we often talk about in our mastermind. That's what we talk about is where do we go from here? And we talk about the bigger questions. We talk about, the logistics of incorporating what you've learned into your unique business. And everyone has a different story. Everyone has different challenges and goals as well. And that's where these face-to-face meetings are so valuable. That's the space where you can connect with us, kind of pick our minds and our brains, but also all of your peers as well, because they have a lot to offer. And the accountability, knowing, like Quynh said, knowing that you're not the only one, that there are other people who face similar challenges and have same goals as you. It's really nice to know. And I think it's really encouraging. You feel like you're not alone. And even at this stage, Quynh has her own mastermind that she goes to. I'm always looking for new courses to learn from, and people who are more successful than I in certain areas that I want to look towards and see, how do they do it? Is there a way for me to have them come along with me in my ride so that they can support me? So I don't think it matters whatever experience you have in your business. It's knowing that there is a community of people in us there to support you through that.
I think the key part on the mastermind, it changes because of the people that are in the group, the questions that you put to the group. And the thing is, you're not only asking the three of us your question, you're asking the entire group because you don't know who has gone through that experience. And to be able to give you the different perspective on how to face your challenge and to overcome that challenge is a really key component that is really priceless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going to have masterminds for 6 weeks. They're going to be held on Tuesdays. They're going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern. And it's going to be about an hour and a half. During each mastermind, we're going to have hot seats. So be prepared to actually talk about your challenges, talk about your goals, ask questions, because we've allotted that special time for you so that we can help you build your business.
Let's talk about the different chapters. So in Paper to Profit, we do have an online course, have recorded many different videos on the various different topics that we are offering in the chapters.
We'll be going through different chapters where I start with the business aspect to it, where we're talking about how to form your business, how do you register your business, all the taxes. I want to say the first chapter is not going to be that fun, but it is so important, right? Like that's like the scary stuff. So I think the serious stuff will be in the beginning, and then we get to talk about pricing, marketing, and even like shipping our products and customer service. So I feel like we will be including difference between the 2020 version and our new version would be we're going to incorporate a lot more details about online presence and our video recordings. I think you guys had mentioned that like maybe Reels was not a thing in the first time, but this time around, yeah. And that's crazy because it's within like the 5 years, and yet there's so much has changed. So I think talking about just creating content, but also making money from creating content would be something that I would love to talk about. So getting into those details, but also online workshops and different types of, I guess, streams of income as an artist. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to learn more about like the business tools that you'll also be talking about, like ChatGPT, because I learned so much from that episode of our podcast, but like learning like even more details. And I've talked about this a lot with Quynh, just personally. I don't know how in-depth we went in our podcast, but I think in our chapter we'll be going a lot further in like how you're going to be incorporating it. And personally for me, like ChatGPT, it was really intimidating in general, like tech stuff. Like Quynh was talking about how like we're techie, but I'm really not. It's just I have to learn it, and it's intimidating. So to have a friend walk with me through it. Yeah. And Quynh was telling me all the time that I need to incorporate that, but I was like, I don't know. I finally started doing this in this year. She's been talking about it since last year, and I just started in the new year. For me, I think ChatGPT, it's like kind of like a personal assistant. That's how I think of it. And I can't wait to talk about it with you guys because it has changed a lot within literally the month or two that I've been doing it. So Quynh's the expert in that. So she'll be talking about.
It's always evolving. I'm still learning. It's amazing how ChatGPT has evolved over the past few years. It's really amazing. From last year to 12 months later, it has increased, become better just because of how many people are using it and how they're using it. And it's been really amazing to kind of push the envelope to see what it can do. And it's a little scary, but as long as you know the parameters and what you want it to do for you, it can do a great, great job to make your life a little bit easier, a little bit more organized, I would say.
And personally, I feel like it also helps with things that you need to do to make money, right? Like that's what we're talking about. Yeah. Like for me, it even helps me write serious emails and things that I have to go through with companies. And I don't really know how to word it properly or like extra professional.
Yes.
Like I do use it for those purposes.
There's a lot of update that we're putting into Paper to Profit. We're recording different types of videos right now to supplement all the materials that we've written. And also there's audio clips in there too. We're updating all the worksheets just to make it more up to date because it's been 4. Now we're putting out a 3rd edition, which is so crazy awesome. And I'm really excited for you guys to take a peek underneath Paper to Profit and to join us on this evolution of your paper flower journey.
Yeah. So we're going to start in May 20th. That's going to be our first mastermind. We'll have an intro before that where we welcome you and we introduce ourselves to each other. And we're really excited for you guys to join us for 6 weeks. It's going to be so exciting.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for you guys to meet each other. You're going to have lifelong friendships. And that's what we keep hearing is the people that you actually meet in this mastermind because everyone is there with the same purpose. And I think that is so important when you have people with like-mindedness and everyone wants to excel and wants to overcome their challenges together. It just makes a better group. I hope you guys will join us. And if you want to find more information about Paper to Profit, check out our website, papertalk.com. And there's a link there to go to Paper to Profit. And you can find out more details about it, the pricing structures, the weekly structure, how we're going to be working Paper to Profit in our 3rd edition. So as always, to end our episode, we want to talk about life hacks. And this life hack, it's going to be relevant to kind of Paper to Profit, where it's more entrepreneurial life hack on what we do every single day to keep our life sane and more organized, or a tool that really will help us. So I'll go first. So the one thing that I want to tell everyone is keep track of all your expenses, all your income going in and out. How do you go about doing it? I think at the very beginning, Jessie and I, we were talking about how we just did it in Excel. We just did a spreadsheet where we tracked what expenses were coming in, what were coming out, and we categorized the very basic things. Office equipment, because at the beginning, you're buying supplies. Those are deductions. And we want to talk about deductions in Paper to Profit, and we'll get more into that later. And that's a whole nother topic. But doing that, and then I would say as soon as you start making a good amount of money and you can afford it, go into some sort of like QuickBook. I think that one's really, really reasonable for everyone for a beginner. It helps you really connect to your income. It gives you reports. And I think that's the really important things on the reports because I pull it up every single month. I look at my profit and loss statements. I look at what's making me money. I'm looking at what expenses that I am spending on that I'm no longer using. I'm like, oh, I need to delete that out of my life because I don't need that extra expense. So really getting underneath the hood and knowing your numbers is really key. I know a lot of the creatives, we just don't want to deal with numbers. We just want to make our art. But really, you got to understand your numbers. We're hoping with Paper to Profit, you're going to have a better understanding of why you need it. And it won't be a chore. It'll be something that it's going to be part of your life. You're going to look at it every single month. And it's something that you'll look forward to because you're going to be like, I'm in the black, which is awesome. How about you, Jessie? What kind of tip?
Well, I'm always looking for a good way to record my thoughts or record my research. We do a lot of sourcing, right? Sourcing of materials for material kits or for ourselves, even planning out our own, series or something that you've been reading. So anyways, in the podcast, I would have talked about notes. You've heard me talk about notes, and notes is very elementary. There isn't a lot of bells and whistles. It doesn't organize very well. So recently I've been implementing a system called Forever Notes, and it's nothing crazy. It's just a way to organize your notes. But you'll be surprised at how effective it is to have a quote unquote homepage where you have links to more of your ongoing notes that can then link to other notes that relate to it. So instead of having a whole, bunch of notes that are just categorized through, I guess, the folders that you have in notes, which doesn't really create any kind of hierarchy in your life, no priorities, right? And tagging doesn't create a priority either. It teaches you a way to kind of set it up where you can set up priorities. So folders or links or groups, they call them collections, that are more prioritized versus another group that is less prioritized. And that in itself, I think, has helped organize a lot of things in my life. So, and I've said in the past, I love notes because I literally just pull it up and I can put my thoughts in very quickly and forget about it. And so instead of having to open something up that is only browser friendly or only on my desktop, or that I have to go into a million different files before I can put down my thoughts, notes has been really effective. And it's free. So something to help you with in organizing your ideas in your notes. What about you, Sarah?
I'm excited to talk about like just little ways to make more income as a content creator, I guess. For me, I do use a lot of commissionable links. And surprisingly, I make upwards to $2,000 a month just off of commissionable links. So that's probably on my really good months. But the $2,000 is a lot of money for a month of just me linking certain things. I'm obviously going to be talking more about it when we are doing Paper to Profit. But just a couple little tips would be that a link on Amazon, I have Like to Know It, which is also a link for like different websites like Michael's or Walmart is on there. So I think a handful of different companies, even like Target, they probably have an affiliate program of some sort. You would have to go and sign up for a lot of them, but making those couple extra $100 like a day just from doing a link. So I do link them on YouTube. I link them. And I know we try to link what we can too on like our newsletters or on our YouTube channel, but linking them on our Instagram stories. I guess my life hack is to go look for those affiliated links. And a lot of those stores that we do have, they do have them. Like Amazon is the easiest one just because everybody is buying them through Prime or whatever. So I'm starting from there. And I want to say some of those products, they give you a lot of percentage from each sale. And Amazon specifically, I think they give you a percentage of like all the sales that one customer made. So if that customer bought the scissors that you recommended, but like plus random groceries or I don't know, like something else, you would get a commission from all of those purchases just from that link. So I do link a lot of stuff. I'm also a part of an affiliate program for like a paper company that I do genuinely like and I use myself. And I just have it on all my like pages. Oh, this is the paper that I use. And I get surprisingly a lot of purchases just from that. So yeah, I would say you guys look into having affiliated links. That's my
So awesome.
life hack. Yeah.
I love that. Yes. Making the time, just carving that time to set all those accounts up is the key thing. But once you have that set up, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. And like if we're doing our workshops too, like you're going to have to link some of those information, like the supplies that you use. So if you link that and you get commission off of it. And I mean, sometimes I don't make much, but like there would be months where I'd make a good amount of money. And you know what's kind of funny? This is probably the life hack. I link it for myself when I have to purchase it. So you make sure you make some money off of your own purchase.
Yes, that's a great hack. It's like in my family, we actually do that. My sister will link her links and I'll link my links and we just buy off each other.
Yeah.
It's great. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Paper Talk. I do hope that you will take a look into Paper to Profit and check to see if this is a right fit for you, because if you want to grow your business and you want to meet other people with like-minded goals and challenges as you, join us, because you'll be surprised at who you meet and some of the lifelong friends that you'll meet on this journey. Thank you so much.
Bye.